it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when the tide comes in, when the tide comes in. But it's always a surprise when, oh, it's always a surprise when you call again, when you call again. Oh, I'm not supposed to answer, I'm not supposed to know that the silence answer, I've got to let it go. Oh, I'm not supposed to answer, I'm not supposed to know that the silence answer, I've got to let it go now. Why do I have to stay here on the ground? It's overrated. The cityscape escapes you with a sound. It's delineated. I waited at the station for an hour, but I won't make it. You take off on an uptap by the tower, and you overtake it every moment. I see you on the rise. You're drawn across the sky. Now that ink has dried, and I can't tell you why. Oh, Mimi, can you tell me there's an issue? I've seen it clouded all around you. Why can't you tell me there's an issue you've seen before? Oh, Mimi, can you tell me there's an issue? I've seen it clouded all around you. Why can't you tell me there's an issue you've seen before? And I can't tell you why. Oh, I can't tell you why. Why you have to stay here on the ground? It's overrated. The cityscape parades you with a sound. It's delineated. No one here has even learned your name, but they all claim that they saw you land and land to do the same. But they won't make it every moment. I see you on the rise. You're drawn across the sky. Now that ink has dried, and I can't tell you why. Oh, Mimi, can you tell me there's an issue? I've seen it clouded all around you. Why can't you tell me there's an issue you've seen before? Oh, Mimi, can you tell me there's an issue? I've seen it clouded all around you. Why can't you tell me there's an issue you've seen before? And I can't tell you why. Tell me there's an issue. I've seen it clouded all around you. Why can't you tell me there's an issue you've seen before? Or maybe can you tell me there's an issue? I've seen it clouded all around you. Why can't you tell me there's an issue you've seen before? And I can't tell you why. I can't tell you why. I've been thinking that I can't quite get enough time on the inside of the cycle that you spin with gravity and dust. I've fallen in between the planets and the sun into the orbit that surrounds you. That 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 orbit that surrounds you. Faster and faster, dear. It's like we're moving backwards in your rearview mirror. The road eaten up by the snow, eaten up. I can feel, I know you feel it too. A little flicker on the path we steer of subtle flashing lights. We'll go faster and faster. This time my mind, it won't forget. This time my mind, we're not there yet. This time it goes faster and faster. This time my mind, it won't forget. This time my mind, we're not there yet. This time it goes faster and faster. Faster and faster, dear. The road's still moving backwards. Now it looks so clear. The snow eaten up by the road, eaten up by. I can still recall the twists and turns, but it feels so straight ahead, a little farther till the end. We'll go faster and faster. This time my mind, it won't forget. This time my mind, we're not there yet. This time it goes faster and faster. This time my mind, it won't forget. This time my mind, we're not there yet. This time it goes faster and faster. This time my mind, it won't forget. This time my mind, we're not there yet. This time my mind, it won't forget. This time it goes faster. This time my mind, it won't forget. This time my mind, we're not there yet. This time my mind, it won't forget. This time it goes faster and faster. Baby, if you don't stand for something, how can you ever stand it all? Baby, if you're built on sand, you'll be swept back by the fall. Baby, if you don't stand for something, how can you ever hope to hold the weight of everything you hold? Maybe if you build your house on sand, you can burrow the deeper. Maybe it would cave on you alone. Swear I did, I tried, I swear I did. 1,000 times to let it lie, 1,000 times to let it lie. Swear I did, I tried, I swear I did. 1,000 times to let it lie, 1,000 times to let it lie. Baby, if you don't stand for something, how could you ever hope to hold the weight of everything you hold? Maybe if you show them all your hand, you can knot in the creases, and maybe you can take it back and fold. You said it was all in the ether. Ain't something you said you could feed her. She said she was nothing but eager. Then you said she said that you couldn't believe her. Ain't something you said you could feed her. She said it was all just a leader. Then you said you swear I did, I tried, I swear I did. 1,000 times to let it lie, 1,000 times to let it lie. Swear I did, I tried, I swear I did. 1,000 times to let it lie, 1,000 times to let it lie. tried, I swear I did. 1,000 times to let it lie, 1,000 times to let it lie. I swear I did, I tried, I swear I did. 1,000 times to let it lie, 1,000 times to let it lie. I heard that you weren't sure, and I called it off again. I heard that you weren't sure, and I called it off again.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another season of Zealous Racing League Racing. My name is Shim. As always, I'm your broadcaster and host for tonight. Sorry for a bit of the rough start that we had to the broadcast. I was trying to wrangle my puppy and try to get the stream up at the same time, which proved to be my undoing. I forgot the liveries. I forgot to change into broadcast mode. It was like all of these things all at once. So now that we've gotten all of that taken care of, and I've given myself a little bit of room to breathe here, welcome back. I'm so excited to bring you another season of Zealous Racing League, the Zad's Galaxy Tour, and this one is going to be a little bit different than ones we've had in the past, especially considering the era of Shim as the broadcaster. Never before have we had two different classes of drivers, or two different sections of drivers try and compete against each other, like within their classes. During my time here um, in the booth, in the broadcaster booth. Um, what you're looking at today here at Monza isn't going to be a normal race. I mean, it's going to be a race like every other. It's going to be a 45-minute race. But this one is going to be a placement race. This is round 0 of season 11. And this is kind of a preseason event that we're doing to not only introduce our drivers to the league, but also get a gauge on the drivers that are going to be racing with us this season and see how well they stack up against each other. This season, we're going to have two classes of drivers, the Pro Series and the Pro-Am Series. And that's how our drivers will be competing against each other this season, just to allow more competition throughout the whole of the grid. So we have the Centurions and we have the Legionnaires. Centurions being the higher division, the Pro League. Legionnaires being the Pro-Am League. Today's race will factor into how we split up those two sections of drivers. That'll determine, this will kind of determine what they'll be racing under, what banner they'll be racing under this season. But it also, some other things we'll take into account as well. Previous season performance will have something to do with it. Some of these drivers we've never seen before, so obviously we don't really have any Zealous Racing League experience, but we'll take a look at their sim grid profile and see how they've stacked up against other drivers during their, racing career. But it's just to give us a gauge and see how they will do. This season, we do have a lot of returning drivers, Reed being one of them. Christopher Larson, our previous season's champ. Carlos Flores is back after taking a season off. We got Justin Friesen, also after taking a few seasons off, is back in the cockpit of the new Ferrari. We have our friend and Zealous Racing League admin, Kenneth Portis, this season not rocking the Honda like he so often did in seasons past. Now he has moved over to the Lamborghini, so we've got a car change for him. Another person with a car change has been Larson. Larson now racing in the Mercedes AMG this season. A few other drivers that we've known in the past: James Turnbull, Toby Yao here, Simon Beaudry racing in the McLaren this season. Got our good friend Glenn Pinio in the AMG. Rodman moving to the Lamborghini this season. Chris Rise is back. racing in the Porsche this season. Matt Fender, also racing in the Porsche this season, returning member. Another driver coming back from a bit of a hiatus is our friend Jason Friesen. Uh, his last name in here is new, but I know him as Slim Friesen, Justin Friesen's brother. Jay and Justin. Racing in the Ferrari this year, like his brother. Chris Landry is back. Another driver who hasn't popped up in my broadcasting tool, but you can see him right at the bottom there is JJ Burr. Back racing in the Ferrari. A lot of Ferraris, a lot of the new cars and the updated cars, obviously, this season. A couple of BMWs out there as well, so the field seems to be packed with a lot of those cars. A lot of those new cars that just came out with the update and the new DLC. Of course, we do have Valencia in the pool this season as well for tracks to be racing on, so it's going to be really fun to see how our drivers tackle that new track. Interesting little note here is this man right here, Henry Harvey, new to ZRL from what I know, and currently topping the leaderboards in terms of the times in free practice here. We have 5 minutes left in free practice, so it'll be interesting to see if he can pull together another lap like that in the qualifying session. As we know, our friend Christopher Larson's really been pulling out all the stops when it comes to his qualifying in previous seasons. But so far this season in practice, we already have 2 drivers who are ahead of him, and last season we were lucky if one could get ahead of him even in practice. So it's going to be a really tight battle up there in the front to see how our drivers tackle these new cars, tackle these new drivers. So like I mentioned, this season we're going to be doing a two classes league. We have 7 rounds. Also interesting this season is we only have 45-minute races this season. So all of the races this season will be 45 minutes long. And y'all can correct me if I'm wrong about this, but this is how I'm kind of interpreting everything that I've been seeing. But we have the 2 different classes of drivers, the Legionnaires and the Centurions. Then secondly, we have a pit stop ballast, success ballast that we're going to be introducing this season for drivers who win races. If you have won the race previous, your pit stop for the next race, you're going to be receiving either a 15 for the first place driver, a 10 for the second, and a 5 for the third place driver pit stop ballast. So regardless of what you do during your pit stop, during those pit stop races, you are going to need to serve an extra 15-second penalty, or pit stop ballast is what we're calling it. You're going to have to serve an extra time in the pits during that pit stop. Also this season, we are introducing a wildcard registration system. So if anyone out there is curious a little bit about Zealous Racing League and wants to give it a shot, or has a friend, if you're a driver in the series and you have a friend who wants to maybe try and join, see what racing in a league is like, we also are going to be having those wildcards. Only caveat for the wildcards is that they can't qualify, so they have to start at the back of the pack. But this just gives more drivers the opportunity to join the grid and to get a feel for what it's like to race in a league environment. And last but not least, the big one at the end of the season, our final race of the season, our Crown Royal race at Kailami. We're doing a full championship reverse grid race. So the final race of the season where the championship stands at that point, that is what uh, that is what the championship grid will be, and we will be taking that, reversing it. That's going to be our starting order for the final race of the season at Kailami. So a lot of different things going on this season, a lot of new and exciting things to try to spice up the racing a little bit and hopefully provide a bit more competition and battles throughout the season. Before we start too, I'd like to apologize ahead of time for any hoarseness in my voice. I went to a concert last night, and my voice is certifiably shot right now. So if I do sound sick, not sick, just uh, a little bit of a case of a lost voice here after screaming at a concert for a couple hours. And I just want to say thank you for all of you tuning in tonight. If you are interested in getting involved in ZRL and are not already, be sure to check out the homepage of our YouTube channel and be sure to not only like and subscribe all of our videos because that's what you do, but be sure to join our Discord. The link is on the homepage of the YouTube channel. There you can find the most updated information on Zealous Racing League leagues and special events. And if you're just new to sim racing and want to learn more, we have all of these drivers a part of the community that are willing to assist and help out anyone and everyone learn the game, learn ACC, learn sim racing, all of that kind of stuff. We're here to help, and that's what we really want to do. We want to just spread the sim racing love a little bit. As free practice comes to an end here, driver's going to have 15 minutes of qualifying before the 45-minute race. So all of our drivers just getting all of their quali setups together. Let's go to Simon Beaudry here, drifting his McLaren through the second chicane here at Monza. It'll be a miracle if we can get everyone across the first chicane safely. Last car on track here, our friend Martin Alberts, just ending it right there actually. He was on an outlap. Here we are though, folks. Qualifying has begun. Let's click drive and let's get out there and see what drivers are doing for qualifying. First driver out, our friend and admin, KP. I love the name of his car, Sausage Curb Racing. Tradition here to go out with the first driver and get a feel for the track. Not that I think most people need to learn Monza. Generally, Monza is one of the first tracks I think people see in, especially ACC, due to a lot of the single player placement things happening at Monza, and just seems to be a battleground for beginner racers. If you go on to the open lobbies, the public lobbies of Zealous Racing League, or sorry, not Zealous, but ACC, you're almost guaranteed to find more Monza public lobbies than any other. Right behind Portis is Larson. And as Larson comes around, final turn here, Let's get into the cockpit of that Lamborghini and watch as Portis does the first lap here at Monza to start out season 11 down the long straight, maxing out the revs, braking at about right after the right at the 100 there, into the first chicane, on the power as early as you can. Taking that chicane is crucial. That's where you make up obviously all your time here is through those chicanes a lot of the time. If you don't get those right, coming to the next chicane, braking at that last board there, right after the overhang there. A little bit of oversteer, but able to correct it. Breaking into a longer right-hander here into kind of the back section here, using all the runoff you can. Another right-hander. Again, utilizing all of the curbing as you possibly can. Maximize the track limits as we cut down to Ascari. Tricky part of the track right after the overhang. You brake, try to cut the inside curve as much as you can on the power, feathering it as you go through, trying to get as much speed as you can down the back straight here. Coming towards Parabolica, braking at about the 75 meters. On the gas as early as you possibly can there, almost mid-turn, because it kind of opens up there at the end. And there we have a 48.6 as the first lap on the board. Larson responds with a 47.3. Definitely was sandbagging a little bit there in practice. Larson with the best time so far. Reed a second behind. It was a blistering lap from Larson, was getting towed by Portis, I think, the whole way. Larson does believe that that AMG is going to be one of the strongest cars with these new physics updates. Seems to be putting that theory to good use tonight already. Following more drivers as they cross. Chris Fries now. Collis. As they all round. Ooh, there's a bit of a wide exit there from Portis. Larson right on the tail of Portis there in qualifying. And now Larson getting by. Reed improves his time. Nunez in third now. Portis did have the same time as Nunez for a bit there. Nunez did improve. Belanger moves ahead. A lot of drivers on the grid this season. Currently 28, if I'm counting correctly, within the server. So watch Alberts with a Ferrari close behind, goes wide, has to abort the lap. Rise does P14. Reed out there right now trying to set a faster lap. Last lap was a 47.8. He's got to improve that quite a bit. Qualifying is over halfway through now, so 7.5 minutes left to go. Reed improves, only 0.2 though. Still got room to grow. Really needs a slipstream here, I think, to get that extra bit of pace. Problem is he's kind of on his own right now. Doesn't really have anyone to pull him on, pull him through. Harvey improves, P3 now. Harvey had the best lap of free practice with that last lap of 47.8 himself. Does one better than his practice laps. Claudio de Barros, new driver to ZRL. Evan Fabre, also new, as far as I know. Currently sitting right in the middle of our drivers. Returning driver, Justin Friesen here, Team Pleb Shed. Moving to the new Ferrari. Moving to that new Ferrari this season. Goodness, you know, I've been doing a lot of driving myself recently with this new update, and somebody mentioned that what I assume is like a pitot tube on a plane, but it's on a car that's sticking up on the top of that Ferrari. I never realized how obnoxiously tall and out of place that looks until just now, but goodness gracious, look at that. Look at that that little sensor up ahead there. That's quite the look. Speaking of that update, changed a lot of different things with the dynamics of the car, or the feel of the car. A lot of drivers are saying it's really the best that ACC has been since since the game has come out. Really feels a lot more like the 1.7 build. A lot more movement under braking. Tires have a little larger of a window, but there's more going on with the tires. So if you have a lower PSI in the tires, they might have a tendency to stay colder. But they might provide just slightly more grip. The window now is between 26 and 27 PSI, and that goes for all cars if I'm not mistaken. So we watch Jay. Looks like he's just aborting the lap here. But as I was saying, the dynamics of the cars are very different. Drivers are having to do a lot more of their setups to get the most out of the car. Bump stops have also changed quite a bit. No longer are the bump stops virtually infinite. They have a true stop now. more akin to real life. So drivers are having to do a lot more to their bump stops to ensure that the car is able to handle it over the curbs. And not only handle it in the curves, but handling under braking as well. Something that I've noticed the most is just how much braking has changed this update. You really have to be careful on braking, not only so you don't lose the car if you're not, loading the car correctly, but you want to make sure not to overcook it like Alberts did right there, because only a few of those you'll ruin your tires. Tires seem to be a lot more susceptible to poor inputs and wear more heavily, and that'll cost you even more in this new update than it would in the past. You can't abuse your tires. You must be very careful with them. Been talking with Larson about this, and it's really a lot about how you warm up the tires in the first place. If you aren't careful, you might burn out your tires too quickly, and you really need to then take a step back. So you really need to then take a step back in the beginning stints of the race. Here we watch Reed chasing down Larson. Friesen getting good enough for P4 in qualifying here, doing really well for himself. 1 minute left in qualifying. He's not going to get another chance. Reed here might get one more chance if he takes it. As he comes around Parabolica, he doesn't improve, but he's not far off. He's got one more chance. Same with Harvey. He's got another chance as well. Just aborted his lap, so he won't get the chance that he wanted there. Portis now. As he comes down the back straight. Through Parabolica he goes. Is he going to be able to improve? That's the question. Reed's all done. Must have not been able to get the pace he was hoping for as he crosses the line. Portis isn't able to improve his lap. He was 5/10 back from where he was originally. Max wait time here, 2 minutes for our drivers. So far we have the 7-Eleven of JJ Burr. Whoops. And then last but not least, we have Nunez coming across the line. And there it goes. Nunez will get P9. That is qualifying for you all. So your starting order for the race today, our preseason race, our placement race. We have last season's champion, Christopher Larson, starting in the lead of the race. Behind him, Matthew Reed driving in that Lamborghini. Looks to be liking it quite a bit. Henry Harvey, newcomer to this to our series, currently sitting P3 in that BMW. Justin Friesen back from hiatus and looking better than ever in P4. Portis P5. Belanger 6. In 7 is Valero, but he isn't coming up on my screen for some reason. Number 8 is Kevin Kapelki. Make sure I'm saying that right. In the Ferrari, P8. 9, Nunez. Carlos Flores, P10. JJ Burr also not showing up for some reason. He is sitting P11. Evan Fabre in 12th. Yao in 13th. Turnbull in 14th. Landry in 15th. Beaudry in 16th. Pinio 17. 18 is Chris Rise. Biscotto not showing up for some reason, but he is sitting in P19. 20 is Sean Collis. 21 Fender. 22 Barros. 23 Rodman. 24 Harvey. Miles Harvey. 25 is Dijkstra, Lenny Dijkstra, coming from a bit of racing that I've met him in, so good to see him back. But he is in 25. Albert's in 26. Jay Friesen in 27th. And TPC Hydro at the back of the pack, sitting 28th. Let's make sure to hit drive like the rest of the drivers here. And as always, want to thank you all for joining me tonight for this live stream. I hope you guys are all doing well. Wish the drivers the best of luck as they go through turn 1 of Monza. Even though this is a league race, carnage is always possible. But yes, like I was saying, thank you so much for joining us. If you're interested in learning more about Zealous Racing League, be sure to like and subscribe first and foremost, but also join our Discord. Links are on the homepage of our YouTube channel. That is where you're going to get the most up-to-date information on future leagues and special events. Also, if you're just looking for some help, new to sim racing, and need to ask some questions, we always have people that are willing to provide assistance if you ask. That's honestly the biggest thing. You know, sim racing can be intimidating for a lot of folks, but if you have others to race with, others to learn with, it can be a lot less intimidating and a lot more fun. So strongly encourage you to join in there. And yeah, with that, 30 seconds left for our drivers to get their cars ready. I am going to do one thing real quick here. I'm going to restart some of my software because I seem to be having an issue where some of the drivers are not showing up. And there we go. Now I can see JJ Burr, Lenny Dijkstra, Biscotto, all those drivers that I was having trouble with earlier. I can see them all. We have a full formation lap for our drivers to get those tires into the correct operating range. Like I mentioned, tires have a wider operating range, but they will vary a little bit more during the lap, especially when you go down long straights. You can definitely notice your pressures dropping off as you go down the straights, and your tires also cooling off if you don't have super high pressures. But that's going to be really important for our drivers to consider during these races. Tires are a lot more susceptible to temperature changes, and that also leaves them open for a lot more wear and other things as well. Only a couple mistakes with these new tires really make the performance drop off quite drastically. I know I've been practicing in the Porsche at Valencia, and after only a few laps, your tires really, really start to ache and start to hurt. So tire management, race management is going to be a much more crucial for our drivers this season than it has been in the past. It's a very large change, actually. So it's going to be interesting to see how our drivers tackle those new physics in a league setting here. This is the first ZRL season since the update. So it's going to be quite interesting. And with this first lap, the full warm-up lap, it's going to be very important for our drivers to warm those tires up to the correct level, because that's going to mean a lot more than it has in the past. Tires also take, I want to say it was like 5 or so laps to really settle in to the pressures and temperatures that they're going to be comfortable at for most of your stint. So that's why it is so important to be careful and nurse your tires in those early stages, because you don't want to burn them out right away. Similar to the F1 race this last week in Miami, you saw a lot of drivers really struggling on, when they needed to push, but those tires have so high degradation. If you don't bring them up into the temperature range carefully, it can really damage those tires. Let's go back a little bit here, hopefully watch the field clump up here. So we focus in on Portis, see all of these cars lining up here on the grid, 2 by 2. Front row, Larson and Reed. Drag race between Mercedes and Lamborghini here. As they turn around Parabolica here. Drivers are going to be getting ready for that green light. Can we make it through turn 1 without any carnage? That's going to be what remains to be seen. Be very interesting to see how it goes as all of our drivers have now turned Parabolica and are coming down the start-finish straight. And we are green for a 45-minute race. 1 mandatory pit stop for our drivers. Really good start from Larson and Reed there at the front. And as we look at them right there, Larson with a little bit better of a jump there. Reed going on the outside, brakes really late as the inside line, needs to yield a bit for Portis. We've got some carnage in the back there. Car has gone around. We have a bit of carnage there between a few drivers in turn 1. You knew it was possible. A few drivers going to have damage with that one, though, but they do have a mandatory pit stop that they need to have, as our drivers are now coming across the first line here. Reed getting close. As everything tries to get back in order here on my screen as well as yours. Reed has dropped down into P... Nope, Reed is still in P2 as far as I can tell. A little bit of an issue there with the timing. Harvey loses a spot to Portis. Belanger moves forward as well. Friesen now P3. Belanger right on his heels as they go down towards Parabolica out of Ascari. Much better run there from Friesen. He's going to hold him off for the time being. As you can see there, Larson pulling away. Reed trying to stick close. Belanger gets a really good run out of Parabolica right on the heels of Friesen here as they go across the line. Right in the slipstream, there is Belanger. As they come down towards T1, Belanger looks a little bit on the outside there. No space, though. Is he going to turn? Look for the move. He is not. Thinks better of it. Friesen's now going to want to really get out of the way here. Now second and some change away from Reed, up ahead. Harvey drops back to 6th place. Kapelke, P7. Valero 8, Flores in 9, JJ Burr moves up to 10 from 11th. Nunez drops back a bit after the lap 1. Maybe a few incidences there with him. Big gaggle of cars on the rear here and the back here. As they head down towards Ascari, we have Flores, Burr right behind him. Not close enough to make any moves. Friesen feeling the pressure from Belanger behind. And Belanger gets a really good run. Friesen, is he going to be able to hold it off? Friesen's got the inside. As they head down towards Parabolica, looks like Friesen's got some top line speed though. And holds the inside, forces Belanger to go wide. They're side by side all the way through Parabolica as they come down towards the start finish. And they still are side by side going down to T1. Friesen's got the inside line for the first turn, but he really needs to then get the inside with the second there. Just ekes out ahead of Belanger, but Belanger outbrakes him slightly, forces Friesen narrow. Oh, Friesen forced to take a bit of the runoff there. Loses a bit of his exit speed. Belanger will take the place, but Friesen hasn't given up just yet. Now Portis feeling pressure from Harvey behind. Harvey looking on the outside. Are they going to have contact? They're not. Oh my goodness, look at these battles here. Portis backs out a bit there, loses the position. Friesen trying to block off Harvey there. So many cars jockeying for position. Friesen wide. Friesen will drop back there. A little bit of an error. Drop back to P9. Going to lose another one there. It looks to JJ Burr, if I'm not mistaken. Or is that Turnbull, actually? We'll drop into P10. Belanger now up ahead, 5-6 seconds back. Harvey, though, with this group of cars behind, moving forward. This looks to be the DRS train of GT Racing here as we go down the back straight of Monza. Harvey leading the pack here, trying to close the gap to Belanger ahead in P3. Portis tucking into the slipstream there along with all the rest of the drivers. Driver coming out of the pits there, the 29 car. So that wasn't the 29 car. Things are spreading out a little bit here. Harvey losing some time. Reed hasn't been able to hold on to Larson. Larson's best lap, a 47.2. Awfully close racing between all of these drivers here. Friesen having dropped back, holding on to P10. Nunez is behind him. Things are settling down now as we move to 37.5 minutes left in the race. Ooh, there we have Henry Harvey. Looks to have outbraked himself. Drops back behind Toby Yao there in the Honda. Now moves Harvey back to I want to say that's P14. Yep. Portis will take P4. That'll promote all of those drivers up one. Nunez now in the top 10. As things are settling down, fast racing, or good racing, is still showing in this pack here, shooting for those top 10 positions. Just look at the string of cars we have. Nunez looking to make a move on Friesen, isn't able to do it. Behind them, they have Landry. Quite a few Ferraris this season, a lot of people favoring that car in the new update. Definitely one of the better feeling cars in the new update. I think personally, for my driving style, I do prefer the Lamborghini just a little bit more, and you do see a lot of Lamborghinis out in the field this season as Albert's fighting off Pinio. AMG battle. Pinio breaks a little bit later there, takes the inside line for the start of the chicane. Alberts will take the inside for the second part, but good move there by Pinio. Good respect between the two drivers. That means Pinio will move up into P17, demoting Alberts down to P18. Got another car off track. It looks to be Friesen. Again, going off track. And he'll slot in next to Harvey. Move down into P14. Carlos Flores moves up quite a few positions from his qualifying, now in P7, right behind JJ Burr, right in front of James Turnbull. Nunez into the pits. All of our drivers do have a mandatory pit stop. If they're going to be taking on fuel, it needs to be 27 minutes, or sorry, 25 minutes at a minimum. That's another rule this season. If you're going in for fuel, you can have a 25-minute pit stop. If you want to take tires during that pit stop, you can do the extra 5 seconds. Or not 25 minutes, 25 seconds, sorry. You can do the extra 5 seconds and get that set of tires. So Nunez into the pits. Bunch of drivers have already opted to go into for the pit stop. Pit window is now open. 10 car of Rise is in the pits. Portis feeling Kevin Kapelke right behind. Doing well to stick with in the Ferrari there. They've built up a bit of a gap. A few cars off track there. Not sure who that was. Looked like Landry went off track there. Move some cars up. Friesen will get back into P11. Harvey now right on the tail of Yao. So like back to a few other drivers. Got Collis back there in P26. Having already made his pit stop behind Juan Valero. P25, TPC Hydro. P24. Biscotto, P23. Fabre in 22. Nunez is in 21, having made his pit stop. Jason Friesen, P20. No pit stop just yet. Miles Harvey in P19. Simon Beaudry making the move on Lenny Dijkstra there. Looks to be some damage on that McLaren, but not enough damage, so he couldn't make that move on Dijkstra. Lenny Dijkstra coming over from some fun racing nights and some other servers I know. Looks to have a lot of damage on the front of that Audi. Martin Albert's returning this season, still racing in the AMG. A few other cars coming in for their pit stops. 28 car of Justin Friesen in the pits now, repairing some of that damage, it looks like, on the front of that Ferrari. Fender, P14. Pinio, P13. Rodman, P11 now after Henry Harvey moves back even further. Looks like another incident from him there. Rodman's now in P11 after starting closer to the back of the pack. Staying out of trouble here. Landry is in P10. Toby Yao, P9. Justin Friesen out of the pits now. Turnbull, P8. JJ Burr coming back, P7. Carlos Flores. Kapelke here, chasing Portis. Our friend Portis here. Got Belanger working to get close to Reed. Reed really just not that far in front of Belanger now. Looking really good in that Lamborghini, but not able to catch up with Larson, who just laps our friend Justin Friesen there. Probably was a good move from Friesen there. Gets a lot of open air now. to just run some hot laps unhindered by any other drivers. Larson goes a bit wide. I think that's still in track limits, but it's going to be iffy. Nunez leads the pack of cars that have pitted. Henry Harvey's in the pits, Landry's in the pits, Jay Friesen is in the pits. Watching Miles Harvey now. Ooh, and Pinio and Fender spin out there in Parabolica. Looks like they touched just a little bit there. A bit of contact between the two drivers. Let's make sure Pinio is back up and running. He's in a much tougher little spot there than Fender was. Fender goes into the pits right away. Looks like Pinio probably would do the same thing. Needs to make his pit stop. 25 minutes left in the race, or 26 minutes, I should say. Looking at Larson now, up in the lead. Belanger closing in on his friend and team member, Reed. Loses time in the last sector. Now that we've reached the halfway point, bear with me for just a moment while I go fill up my water once more, but I will be right back. I'll keep the stream running for you guys. And we are back to an excellent little battle here between Valero and Harvey, Miles Harvey. Valero looking for a gap, isn't able to find one. Not going to make it work this turn. JJ Burr now, Nunez right behind. Friesen now in P11 it looks like. Although I think that might be a typo. I think he's actually in P13. Turnbull and Larson, only two cars yet to have pitted. Right behind Turnbull. Actually can't tell who that is right behind Turnbull. 16 minutes left in the pit window. Harvey looking to make the move on Beaudry here. Albert's into P13, good for him. Good race so far. Makes the move, Harvey on the outside. Beaudry will tuck in. Belanger has lost a position to Portis. So it looks like everything else hadn't caught up. Friesen is indeed in P11 there. Looks like Rodman maybe had an issue. Now back in the back of the pack. Larson has now made his pit stop. Turnbull, only car yet to have made the pit stop. Going long on that first stint. This comes around the corner. And there he goes into the pits. Looks like we've gotten clear so far without any drive-through penalties, which is really good. As always. Harvey looking on the outside of Alberts now. And makes the move, braking a little bit later. JJ Burr now with Nunez right behind down the back straight. Nunez looks on the outside. Brakes slightly later. Don't think he's going to have what it takes to make the move though. Yep, does have to back out a little bit so he can maintain his momentum. Looks like a good race from Nunez. Good race from Yao so far, now into P8. Looks to be a good race from him. Pelkey has dropped back quite a bit here. Ooh, we have some contact there. That was Flores. Oh, goodness gracious. Kapelke, I think, was the one who got maybe rear-ended there. Yao, I think, was involved in that. Friesen seems to have gotten away scot-free. He was too far back. Might be good for him there. Flores moves down. I think that was... I can't remember what happened there, but I think it was Yao stopped in the middle of the track, and I don't think Kapelki really had anywhere to go. Maybe it was the other way around. I think Kapelki was the one in the back there. Fender now looking to make a move on Beaudry. Right behind Fender is Biscotto. Friesen now 4.2 seconds back from Yao, so did gain some time there. Yao has now moved closer to Flores. Beaudry and Alberts could be a battle here soon. Right behind Beaudry is Fender and Biscotto. Hydro getting close to Harvey, Miles Harvey. Larson dominating the race so far. Apologize for the drinking sounds there. Getting some water. JJ Burr and Nunez getting close now to Turnbull. Battle for P4 or P5. Sorry. A little bit of pack forming here behind the Porsche. Good race from Turnbull so far. Just needs to hold out the two cars behind for 13 and a half more minutes. Gotta love the sound of that new Porsche. I really enjoy a lot about this new Porsche personally. From that amazing light bar on the rear end, just looks so clean. The inside of the car looks like the Porsche 992 Cup car. I think the dash and everything in that car just looks impeccable. Maybe the best looking dash of any car I've ever seen. It just looks iconic. Something about it just screams GT car, screams Porsche. I love everything about the interior of that car. I love the exterior of this car. The one thing that I'm wrestling with is a lot about its handling, honestly. Porsches being rear engine can be a handful sometimes. They really can be a handful sometimes. So it's actually the car I've been working with the most personally with this new patch. That and the car I was running before, the Lexus. I think it does have a lot to offer, but I think the new Ferrari and the Lamborghini really do shine with this new update. With BOP changes, though, I think drivers will get the hang of things pretty quickly. Here is Biscotto feeling the pressure from Fender behind. Fender goes on the inside. Looks like he's got a good run. Side by side they go. Fender does get the move done, but can Biscotto answer, maybe braking a little bit later into the chicane? Nope, got to tuck back in. That's a move for Fender there. P16. Biscotto holding close though. Burr on the inside of Turnbull there makes the move, and he should make that stick pretty easily there. Nunez tucking in behind. Burr up into P5 now, sorry. Turnbull going on the inside, or sorry, the outside, doesn't have what it takes to make a move. Nunez trying to poke his nose in there. At Porsche and AMG, two amazingly different sounding cars. Larson now, our leader. 9.5 minutes left to go. He's got no one behind him. Looks like a lapped car in front. I think that's Glenn Pinio. Indeed that is. We gotta love the rear of that that AMG. Come and take it. That's what he says. Now Nunez has made the move on Turnbull, something we missed there. Now trying to get back to JJ Burr there. Looking back here, Fender and Biscotto still close. Landry getting close to Harvey. Looks like I maybe missed a few key incidences or changes there. Going back to Landry here. There he has just missed it. Made the move on Harvey. 29 car. Let's see if I can get back and find that. '29 car of Reed, a bit of an issue there for him. 53. Rodman. Maybe some contact between those two. Reed did lose a lot of time there. Still up on Portis by quite a ways, but could have meant disaster there for Reed. 991 car of Henry Harvey. Ooh, just not a great day for Harvey. Looks to be a few small incidences there. Let's go back to Henry Harvey and see if we can see what happened there. Just lost the car there on Ascari. Happened so easily, just lost the rear end. Moving back to Larson now. Don't need to watch the incident any further after that. Larson passing the lap car there. Nunez working to stay close. Toby Yao now with Friesen right behind. Friesen's been able to pull the gap closer and closer these last few laps after the damage occurred in T1 with Yao, Flores, and Kapelki. Friesen looking to redeem himself after a few mishaps. With 5 minutes left in the race, he's only got maybe 3-4 laps. Sorry, 4 or 5 laps maybe if I'm counting correctly. Let's say 3 or 4 laps left to make a move. Now we see Turnbull dropping back from Burr and Nunez here. Beaudry's getting close to Alberts. Something to watch. Nunez getting close through Ascari. Hugging those curbs. It's a good run. Belanger passes a lapped car there. Friesen hasn't made a move just yet. It does get a good run here. Gets a really good run down the straight. Friesen definitely has the speed. I think Yao was compromised with that damage. And it looks like that will be the move from Friesen. Maybe doesn't get the best exit there. Yao still really close. Looks on the inside, doesn't have the space to make the move though. So that's P10 for Friesen. Yao demoted to 11th. Back to Burr and Nunez, still battling it out here for P5. Burr being very cautious through Ascari there. Maybe not as to not give Nunez the run he needs to take him on the run down to Parabolica here. Could be a little bit of could be a little bit of gaming some gamesmanship there from JJ Burr. Looking back, Alberts and Beaudry. Through Ascari themselves. McLaren goes a little wide. Oh, hits the curb. He doesn't lose it completely though, so good hold there from Beaudry. But Beaudry will also lose a position defender there. Tuck in behind him. Belanger and Portis having a bit of a lonely race here. Belanger been getting back to Portis here. I wonder if Belanger had a little bit of damage. Portis opted to not take tires, because that's what our drivers can do. They don't have to take tires. But if they do take some fuel on, it is a mandatory that they take 25 seconds. That is, though, a little bit faster than taking tires, which will take 30 seconds, as most people know. Looks like we have a car there with damage. It's that Looks like maybe Valero. Nope, not Valero. Looking at the Ferraris, maybe that's Noob. Yep, that is Jason with a bit of damage there. Like I mentioned, our drivers don't have to take they don't have to take tires. But that being said, doesn't matter too much now because we are on the last lap of the race. The white flag is out. Larson now almost done with the lap, entering sector 3 currently. Into a scar he goes, down the back straight. Piscato passes Beaudry there. And as he rounds Parabolica for the final time, last season's championship winner is your race winner today. That's Christopher Larson in a new car, in a new season, but the same result. First place for him. Reed now in a new car himself. Looks to be in wonderful form with that Lamborghini. Good to go back to a car that he's familiar with a brand he's familiar with as well. That's Matthew Reed in the Lambo, taking P2 home. Portis now had a bit of a rough start to the race, but has moved his way back in there. That's P3 for Portis. Belanger right behind him, P4. JJ Burrs held off Nunez for long enough now, and he'll come away with P5. Nunez right behind, P6. Turnbull, P7. Kevin Kapelke, that's P8 for him. Flores now about to cross the line. That's P9 for him. Good performance. Friesen, a comeback drive, P10. Yao right behind, P11. Evan Fabre turning around. We've got Piscato Beaudry, Landry Harvey, Pinio other Harvey, Rodman Noob, Dijkstra, Collis, Hydro, and Rise have already crossed as well. So we got Fabre here, BP12. Valero, P13 as he crosses the line. Match Fender now, P14. Last but definitely not least here, a great drive from Martin Alberts in that AMG. And there you have it, folks. There you have it. That is the placement race for tonight. Your race winner, Christopher Larson. Like I mentioned, might be a new car, might be a new season, but we have the same result. It is Larson, your race winner tonight. Getting into the timetables here, let's go to the race and give you guys all the rundown of what happened today. Like I mentioned, that was the placement race, so what will happen now is our admins will take a look at everyone's placement tonight. They'll take a look at their SimGrid profiles, take a look at everything they can, and they'll come to a conclusion of what our drivers should be placed at for the Pro-Am or the Amateur, the Pro Series, the Centurions, or the Pro-Am, the Legionnaires, which series they're going to be put in. Even though there are two separate classes of driver that are going to be driving, they're all driving on the same track on the same night. It's not like we're going to have two races in a night. They're all going to be on the same track, but this is just to determine where their battles are really going to be in the championship standings. Enough of all of that rules and everything, though. Let's get into the rundown, the finishing order of today's race. Christopher Larson, fastest lap, leader of every lap of the race. Got that pole position, everything in between. He is your winner, P1. Then we have Matthew Reed, another great drive from him in that Lamborghini. Looks much more comfortable in that than he was in the Ferrari last season. with I think a lot of these physics changes as well, seems to be doing very well in the new season. Portis, new car, still doing well, P3. Belanger 4, Burr in 5, Nunez in 6, Turnbull in 7, Kapelki in 8, um, Flores in 9, Justin Friesen in 10, Yao in 11, 12 is Fabre, 13 Valero, 14 Fender, 15 Albert, 16 Biscotto, 17 Beaudry, 18 Landry, 19 is Miles Harvey, 20 is Pinio, 21 is Henry Harvey, 22 Rodman, 23 that's Jay Friesen, 24 Lenny Dijkstra, 25 Sean Collis, 26 Hydro, 27 Rise, and last DeBarros in 28. There you have it, folks. That was our placement race. Races will be coming up next week. The official rounds will be coming up next week. Well, we'll go to the other Italian track we have here. I guess there are some other Italian tracks. I think Monzano is technically an Italian track. Yep. But we have another Italian track next week. Imola will be where our drivers are racing next week. Same time, same place. It's going to be a good one. Thank you everyone so much for joining us tonight. Really appreciate your support. If you want to help support us, like and subscribe this video. Be sure to share with everyone you can. And also join our community. The Discord server has got a link. There is a link on the homepage of our YouTube channel. Be sure to go there and get all of the most up-to-date news on anything ZRL. And that is all of the ad lib reads, everything that I can. That's all I've got for you tonight. My name is Shim. I've been your host tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure. Tune in next week for round 1 at Imola for Zad's Galaxy Tour Season 11. Thank you again. Peace, everyone. Have a wonderful, wonderful night.